But of course, who knows what the dungeon has in store, so without further ado, let's get ready to hop right into it, shall we? Continue with Ouroboros here. Hello, my friend. Defenses are still a little bit on the tricky side, of course, but otherwise, functionally doing pretty well here. Again, upgrade to that Arbalist definitely is a nice little uptick in our overall power levels here. And so I think we're ready for Lair. Still not quite as high on PD as I would like, but we at least should be able to use some Uzamancy if and when desperation comes. I guess we'll have to see. It's always the interesting part about continuing runs after a long break is just getting back into the swing of things and the slow rumble of an avalanche of rocks nearby. So it's going to be pretty close to us here. I think that was a volcano, right? Yes, an oppressive heat about us. Do I have any fire resistance? No, I do not. I mean, we can probably poke our heads in and see how things are looking, how things are feeling. But I'm guessing it's not exactly going to be the best situation for our character here. Now it's very distant, so we must have just went completely the wrong way. Let's head back up this direction. I guess it could be in that little stone structure below. And you know what? It's back to being distant even up here, so I'm guessing it has to be down here somewhere. Fantastic. Ah. I need flight to get to it this way. I guess we can probably make do with going around. And just all the serpent's talismans a foolhardy adventurer could ever want or need in their life. How about that? Okie dokie. Well, I think we just hop in, take a look around, see how things are looking, see how things are feeling, and be ready to leave immediately. Oh, interesting. I was about to say I don't really know what to expect from this layout, but now I see it is a little more of your standard lava lake. I guess the one saving grace we have here is that we're wielding a cold-branded weapon, so at least we're dealing pretty wild amounts of damage to all of our new friends here. I do just want to be careful that we don't get stuck in a firestorm as this place erupts. Air gets thick with the scent of sulfur. That's when we get the heck out of Dodge. There we go. We saw the volcano erupted. So again, despite, or rather, even against our best wishes here, I'm gonna keep pushing for the moment. I'm back to being slightly concerned that we've waited too long. There we go. Let it erupt. And then get right back to it. And I guess we'll see just how foolhardy this endeavor ends up being, shall we? I mean, a salamander is not great for us. Okay, we do manage to take it out at least, so that's fantastic, and then we could just leave. Probably should just leave. And yet... What, some Uzamancy? What does this son of a gun do? Bolt of Magma and Force Lance are both going to be a little bit of a problem. I mean, what I should potentially do is just try to get these buddies to follow me a little bit, waste a few turns getting struck by the ooze walls. Of course, the issue therein is that we're a little bit too slow, and so we're going to be taking pot shots even as we go. Do we continue to risk it? Or is now when we think about our actions and learn from our mistakes? I mean, a 32% chance to paralyze you is actually alright in my book, and then we can get the little bit of additional space. Fantastic. That definitely kind of works out for us. As a bunch of slimes wander about the level. And now we're back in the same boat. Again, I feel like our damage output might be high enough that it's worth sticking through this. Here's where we should probably make the decision, because if I wait another turn or fire another shot, this buddy's going to be adjacent and they'll be following us out. But I mean, Bolt of Fire, 318, shouldn't be too bad when we have an 80% chance to hit. I don't know, ready to be made into a fool for my words, but so far, it's managing to bear out as expected. And then let's see, one enemy sensed beyond the pale here, but not really anything we can't handle. This slime is gonna have a field day though. Unfortunately, I don't know how much of the detritus in this room we'll manage to pick up before our pal here starts gobbling it all down, but that's fine. Guess we can train a little bit of dodging. Some fighting probably wouldn't be too outside the realm of effectiveness here. Alternatively, I'm looking at that spell casting. We do have Jinx Bite. It's almost reliably castable. I think it was a 14% failure rate. We quickly peeked in on that. Is it worth it to potentially endeavor in that direction? I don't know if it is. I mean, we do have quite a few wands, so maybe I will just go with Evo as a bit of a tried and true method for us here. And a Demon Whip of Flaming. I mean, I'll pick it up. Doubt we'll really end up using it. And you know what, that is probably enough of this area for me. I know, I'm tempted to see what else lies in the lake area here. But there's no real need to do it. I was hoping for like a fire resistance ring showing up in this little castle area, and unfortunately that was not the case. I'm trying to remember if there's another structure deeper in here. I don't know, maybe I will just do a little bit of a scouting mission just to make sure. You know, you got to get out there and see the world for yourself sometimes. Okay, it doesn't look like there was too much of interest that we missed. We can just get the heck out of there. And all in all, a rather successful volcano, especially considering the fact that we're not exactly suited for any such endeavor. But fantastic. Oh, you know what? I got excited with the boots, kind of forgetting what it is that we do here as a Naga. Whoopsie daisies. And I'm still looking at this Guardian Spirit Amulet, wondering if it's worth it to put it on. A little bit of additional health is always nice, but of course the main reason we were shying away from that in the first place was so that we would always have magic points available for Jivya abilities. And I'm definitely humming and hawing that decision now, but we'll probably stick with it for the moment here. Well, let's just drop some of these rocks, and in fact, now is probably the time to fix that. In fact, some would argue, probably correctly, that a little too late. We waited a bit long, gathering up all the useless detritus there, but not the end of the world. And fortunately, our damage output is high enough that a yak pack isn't a big deal, because our defenses definitely aren't quite up to snuff, or I wouldn't think so, just looking at things on a surface level. So very, very happy that we're at least able to kill things before they manage to close the gap, and that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us at the moment. Wolfpack should be similar, but even a bit more straightforward, and not too shabby here. Overall, pretty decent layer 1. I don't think that we ran into too much to worry us, though. And that worries me, unfortunately. We'll see how it goes. We did just get a complete shift in, oops, let's turn auto pickup back off, or back on rather, before I forget. But a shift in our mutations here. Some of our iridescent scales have left us, unfortunately, but I guess some additional fur shores up that weakness and gives us cold resistance. That's fantastic. Lost some of our eyes, unfortunately. Armor still fits poorly. And we can absorb some projectiles. Hurrah. I guess all in all, we actually just went up in AC. Don't recall exactly what was going on last session or why I thought that we might have had more armor class from our iridescent scales, but at the end of the day here, just glad to be doing a little bit better in that department, of course. We heard the beat of a distant drum, so means that we are relatively close, all things considered, to our gauntlet entrance. And I'm definitely hoping that we're able to find that. Especially since it's just always pretty dang safe to at least take a step in and look around. So almost no reason to wish ill on your odds of finding the gauntlet entrance. Let's head up this direction when we saw that very distant message, of course. And very nearby, that's more like it. Oops, hello my friends. I'll take care of some of you Kidlywinks first, shall we? Not that I'm really being given that much of a choice, but oof. Well, I get turned to stone, but I made sure to step into a place where our enemies would also be dealing with the same status effect, so that kind of worked out, all in all. And let's get ready to pop in here, shall we? So we can definitely get rid of, again, just a lot of the detritus that's sitting around our inventory. Are we back to being able to wear hats? Unfortunately, not yet. Maybe I'll have that in my inventory just in case we get lucky indoors and we lose one of our antenna mutations. But otherwise, that should be plenty of room. So let's jump to it, shall we? So we got an acid-themed room, a fire-themed room, cold-themed room, necromancy, spider-themed. Never like seeing spiders with a moth of wrath, of course. And none of the ice is going to be that difficult. If I just wait enough time here, do enough slime spawn to take care of all my enemies? I guess the downside is that they are also getting rid of any, items of value that we may be wishing to pick up here. So not grand in that regard. And so on the right, the boots are useless. A heal wounds potion is kind of nice. Might have to go left. Regardless, as long as slimes don't eat it, it looks like we're going to be getting a rechargeable evocation device on either path. So that's wonderful. The left path seems a bit more straightforward to deal with, especially given the resistances that we're able to switch into. I guess not so much the corrosion side. That may or may not be a bit of a struggle. Who's to say? Don't love the idea of facing off against the spectral hydras, though. I think that's going to be a big problem. So, if we are going to get through here, especially do so in one piece, then I think this has got to be the way to go. You know what? Sure, I'll pick up some corrosive scales. Why not? AC would go up by 1, so we could even make the argument to switch into that now. I'm not too worried about the plant, because we can always just dodge around the corner to make sure that we're not in trouble. But all's well that ends well. We get that. We do have cold resistance from our mutations, so I'm hoping that carries a lot of the functionality here for us. Should get out of the cold clouds, I guess. I don't think I can get far enough away to be unhittable by that specific effect. And there we go. I was hoping we could sneak a shot around our new friends there, and we were indeed able to do so. Oh, and the mini-eyed thing is actually our friend. Right. Kind of forgot about that. Well, hello there. Well, I guess there's not a lot more to do or say over that direction, and we're just gonna have to pop in here. Let's get the Uzamancy running. Bit of poison, though I should have maybe checked your resistances before I did that. Ooh, that's a pretty nice ring you got on there. Besides the cold vulnerability, which won't be a problem for us at the moment with our current set of mutations, but I would be willing to accept or even bet that that may not always be the case. And what should I do with you, my friend? I'm like looking at the nets in our inventory. That might be a half-decent bet for us here. And then make sure we switch back over to our main weapon before wasting all of our nets on an already bound Minotaur. Fantastic. What all did we get there, I guess? So we got the fancy ring from our Minotaur buddy. We got some Ice Blast charges. Love to see that. Scroll of ID, Spellbook. A Strength and Intelligence ring. I mean, that could potentially help us if we wanted to, again, go fully into the hybrid kind of Marks Mage approach, as well as potentially allowing some heavier armor, which could be nice. I do like that we have 6 scrolls of butterflies. As long as I can remember that we have that available, I could see that becoming a very, very useful effect for us. You know what? I think I will just put this on. Again, we lose that cold resistance, but fire resistance is a bit more generally applicable, I'd say. At least at this stage of the game and where we're at. So that is a half decent start for us, because we get a little bit more slain on top of that, as well as some strength means that once again we could start looking at some of these heavier armors to see if there's anything that is usable with ranged weaponry. Okay, I should take these kiddos upstairs just in case some of those rolls went poorly. Definitely didn't want a Komodo dragon coming in the back and really making a bit of a mess of it all. Right, we did get the Storm Talisman. I didn't even realize we got the Phantom Mirror at some point. That's pretty wonderful in its own right. Again, definitely starting to lend some credence to our strategy of... Okay, I was about to say I want to step back and I want to turn to stone. Well, we don't have too many unfriendly faces leering in on us, so that kind of worked out in our favor. And that should pretty much do the trick. Entrance to Snake found and sorted out. Fantastic. Would be nice if we could get a barding in there. I think that would definitely shore up a lot of our current concerns and weaknesses on the character. But I guess we will have to see. Do I have a good place to fight all of you? Oh, I can fly now. So, it's a little bit dangerous to get there. I might be taking a lot of hits. I mean, so far we were quite fortunate. And then once we're in here, we can use and abuse our flight with the lava pools. Love to see it. And body becomes malleable and stretchy. Our shaggy fur recedes somewhat. Oof. Oh, I was about to ask, does that mean we lost our cold resistance? Then opening the wrong screen here kind of spoiled it for me, and it looks like indeed we did, unfortunately. Still have the armor class from it. Yikes. But we get some more armor class from our flexi body, including some evasion, so that's wonderful. Sense nearby items. Can disarm our opponents. I mean, all good stuff still, I'm sure. I guess disarming, not super useful in the current state of things, specifically being here in Lair, but that's fine. I should also just, again, cement into my brain that we are cold vulnerable, Torinski, so let's not do anything silly for getting that in the most dire of situations or moments, shall we? Oh, a wave of frost passes over us. So the game is definitely trying to tell us something, though I'm not too sure what that may in fact be at this moment in time. But trying to keep an eye out for when we next see an update message. A distant melting archway, so somewhere not too far from our current setup. Hello, my Hydra friend. Good damage output. Love to see it. Helps that we were no longer slowed by the snail. I think we definitely could have found ourselves in a little bit of trouble there. Jivya will now unseal the treasures of the slime pits. Well, don't I have just the thing for you? I believe we are likely getting very close to said pits. So we can definitely head down there as soon as we find them, which is fantastic. It's something I always kind of forget about or take for granted as a Jivya follower. But fantastic. We're getting a bit closer. I see a nice enemy. Does that... Yes, very nearby. We do see now. Fantastic. There it is. And just a bunch of imps to deal with at the start of it all here. Pop down into our little safety corridor, and then we should be able to take care of all those sons of guns. Fantastic. Imps themselves, of course, no issue whatsoever. More so worried about the rest. Though I did already forget about our cold vulnerability, so maybe it could have been an issue. Yikes.